Welcome. I have been up for 30 hours. I am fueled by Micro Reeves and William Osman and somehow Veritasium. Very different vibes. Anyway, I have solved another one of humanity's biggest time wasters. Are you ready? Let me illustrate. This is all useless. Let me get the rubber. This is hand sanitizer. Seriously, is there anything isopropyl alcohol can't do? Wonderful. This is my idea. Picture this. You've had a little bit too much fiber. You go to the bathroom. You do your business. You flush. It doesn't go down. And you know what happens? You have to wait. You have to wait for the water in the tank to rise up so that it reaches that level where that little ball inside reaches the thing and stops the water. At which point you can hit the button and flush again. Time wasteful. This can take like 2 to like an hour, depending on like when you check whether it's full. Time wasteful. Nobody likes it. So here's my solution. I make a thing that goes on top of this button here, which pushes the plunger down after the water gets to the top again, right? Are you following? Good. So you flush once, it doesn't go down. It's like, you know, you've got the classic clog situation that is actual sized, and the water's at the bottom. You know, your classic situation. It's in there, you flushed, and you have to wait for the tank to fill up again. Here's what I'm offering. An extra button up here that you press in just such an occasion, which waits for the tank to fill up and then pushes the plunger again for you so that this can go down where it's supposed to into the netherverse. Right there. That's the black hole of where I imagine all poo-poo goes. Now, this is relatively simple. I'm going to use this, which is from a different project that failed miserably, but it still works for this, even though it's slightly too big. Anywho, this is gonna go on top of the thing, and it's gonna push down the thing, right? All I really need is like an adapter, like a 3D printed adapter that can that will like hold this over the button there. So like something like that, and it will hold it so that when I push a button down here, button. Yep, button is spelled with 3 T's. Dyslexia, baby. It pushes it after a. I haven't decided. I'm either gonna put some kind of a sensor up here, or I'm just gonna check how long it actually takes to refill, and then I'm just gonna have a time delay for that. I'm opting for time delay because I'm lazy. Right, 3D printed part. Luckily, I prepared one earlier. So this goes on the thing, and now, you know what, let's just go over there. So here I am in my bathroom. So the 3D printed part goes on here, which perfectly encapsulates the little circle there. And then this guy attaches there with with zip ties. And this I'll glue down with hot glue. And I will have some electronics connected to this bit that will push down the plunger and effectively do that. Got it? Right, let's go. Ignore the shirt, let's go straight into the electronics. We are going to start off our journey with this giant 12-volt lead acid battery. It is very heavy, so I'm going to put it down. The battery will go directly into the intuitively named D07FC-121. Very intuitively named. a motor driver, which will do two things for us. Number one, it's going to control this linear actuator depending on which one of these pins we power. It's going to make it go backwards and forwards. Number two, it's going to step down this chunky 12 volts down to a very manageable 5 volts, which we can send directly to the Raspberry Pi Pico. Yes, I understand that the Raspberry Pi Pico is way overpowered to use to control my toilet. I don't care, it's very intuitive to program. To the Raspberry Pi Pico, we will be connecting a button and a rail switch. A rail switch is just a button that you control with a magnet. So if the magnet gets close, it triggers like a little latch thing, and it closes and it makes the current go through, which tells the Pico, hey, a thing has happened. Right, now let's go into the code that we're going to be using on the Pi Pico. First of all, let's figure out what we want it to do. Number one, we push a button. It flashes. If we press the button again, it waits for the tank to fill up and then flashes. Now let's see how that translates to code. Don't panic, it's very, very simple. While true is just a term to say run forever. So it will forever run everything underneath it. So it will forever check whether the button has been pressed. When the button has been pressed, it will go into another forever loop, which checks whether the tank has been filled up. If the tank hasn't been filled up, if tank full equals false, it goes to sleep. And it sleeps for 1 second, at which point it loops itself again and checks whether it's false again. If it's false again, it continues doing it until this false turns to true, which skips this and goes directly to flush. Got it? So, just to drive it home, we sit down, we do our business, we finish up, we press the button. Now, because the tank is full at the start of each session, it's going to obviously be true. So it's going to go directly to flush. But then we can see that it's still hanging out in there. We're going to press the button again, at which point this is going to be false because there's no water in the tank, so it will go to sleep. Until this false turns to true, at which point flash. Problem solved. Now it's time to install it. Now, if you are mad enough to actually make one of these yourself, installation might be different depending on your toilet. For me, it's fairly easy. I take off the top, I put the reed sensor on top of the lid, I put a little magnet on the thing that goes up and down depending on how much water is in the tank. I close that back up. It's a little tricky to align those two, but you'll get there. Now the final piece of the puzzle is to stick down the linear actuator above the button. It was a little bit tricky for me because I don't have an extension cord long enough to reach into my bathroom, so I had to warm up the hot glue gun in my office and then run over to the bathroom. I'll just play the clip, it's pretty funny.
3, 2, 1, let's go. Dun 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 dun.
So now that everything's installed, let's do a couple of test runs and make sure everything's running smoothly. And with that, we push the button. And then we push the button again. And we wait 10 minutes. It actually takes 10 minutes for my toilet to fill up with water. But it worked. I'm really happy that it worked. I'm obviously not going to keep this on my toilet permanently, but you know, maybe one day there'll be a version 2 that looks better and works better. You never know. We never know. That'll be it for today's video. Thanks for checking it out. I don't know how you ended up here, but you know, click the buttons and all that, and I will see you when I come up with another crazy idea. Peace. Oh God, my knees. Oh wow. Age is just a number, my ass.